A week later, I was walking in the alley behind Mitchell's when a big cookie with pink frosting just about hit me in the head. It went by like a little flying saucer, then crashed in the dirt. I looked all around and didn't see anybody, so I put my hands over my face and stood still, because I knew if something weird like this happened once, it usually happened again. Sure enough, another cookie hit me right in the back, and a big laugh came out of the big green apple tree. Byron. He dropped out of the tree like a superhero. He had a great big bag of cookies in one hand and a green apple with a giant bite out of it in the other. Want some? Bai tipped the bag of Swedish cream cookies at me. I knew this was a trick. The bag must have been empty, but I looked inside anyway. There was still half a bag of cookies. Thanks. I grabbed two of the cookies and looked at them real good in case Bai had put bugs or something on them. They were clean, but I still kept waiting for the trick. Why would Byron waste four good cookies on me? Man, Swedish creams have got to be the best cookies in the world. I gulped them down and wiped my hands on my pants. I couldn't believe it. Bai tipped the bag at me again. He jumped up and snatched a green apple off the tree, checked it for wormholes, and then handed it to me. You best eat some of this. Them Swedish creams is good at first, but they get kind of thick in your throat after a while. Byron was being too nice, so I knew something was about to happen. Then I noticed a crumpled up Swedish cream bag on the ground next to the tree, and I could figure out why he was being so generous. He'd already eaten a bag and a half. A bell went off in my head. I knew now why he'd been so excited and happy when he found out about getting free food at Mitchell's. Bai was signing up for stuff that Mama and Dad didn't even know about. It was like he read my mind, because I was just about to say, "Oh, Bai," when he stopped being friendly and crossed his eyes at me and said, "Don't even think about it, Poindexter. You ate two of them yourself, so quit wasting my cookies and just shut up and enjoy what's left." He tipped the bag at me again. He had me. I couldn't tell on him, or else I'd be in just as much trouble as he would. I took another one. Bai went over to the green apple tree and slid his back against it until he was sitting down. I did the same thing right next to him, and we sat together munching. I wasn't used to being this friendly with Byron, so I guess I was kind of nervous and didn't really know what we should talk about. Bai just sat there chomping down apples, so I tried to think what him and Buphead would talk about when they sat around like this. Finally, I said, "So, Bai, how about you and me doing a little cussing?" He twisted up his face and said, "I thought I told your jive little ass to shut the hell up and enjoy the damn cookies. Now do it." I got a huge smile. This was the perfect day. But like always, Bai ruined it. "Look!" He pointed up at a telephone wire where a big bird sat. The bird was about the size of a pigeon and was grayish brown with a long, pointy tail hanging underneath it. Bai jumped up and said, That's mourning dove. They're the coolest birds in the world. Don't nothing shake 'em up." Bai threw a Swedish cream at it. The cookie zipped right by the bird's head, and all the bird did was raise its wing once and look behind it. He threw three more cookies at the bird, and it still didn't move. When Byron's fourth Swedish cream left his hand, I knew that if the bird didn't move, he was going to get whacked. The cookie popped the bird smack jab in the chest. The bird's wings both stuck out of the side, and for a hot second, with its tail hanging down and its wings sticking out like that, it looked like a perfect small letter T stuck up on the telephone wire. Then, in slow motion, the bird leaned back and crashed to the dirt of the alley behind Mitchell's. I'd been throwing rocks and things at birds since I was born, and had never even come close to hitting one. I'd seen a million people throw a million things at birds, and no one had ever really hit one, not even a pigeon. But now Bai had knocked a bird right out of the sky with a Swedish cream cookie. When I got to Byron, he picked up the bird and was holding it in his hands. The bird's head drooped backward and was rolling from side to side, dead as a donut. "You got him! You got a bird!" Byron held the bird in one hand and with his other one gently brushed pink frosting off the dove's chest. "You got him! I've never seen a bird get—" I looked right at By, and his face was all twisted up and his eyes were kind of shut. He dropped the bird, walked over to the green apple tree, and started throwing up. I stood there with my mouth open. I couldn't believe Byron was starting to cry. I couldn't believe how much vomit a bag and a half of Swedish creams and some green apples could make. When it looked like he was done, I walked over and put my hand on his back. As soon as I touched him, he popped me in the arm. Hard. "By what?" He picked up a rotten apple and threw it at me. "Get the hell out of here! What are you staring at? Them apples got me sick, you little cross-eyed punk! Get out of here!" Rotten apples started coming at me real hard and fast, so I left. It was hard to understand what was going on with Byron. Some of the time, if a genie came and I gave you 3 wishes, you wouldn't mind using all 3 of them to wish some real bad stuff on him. Not stupid things like that woman in the fairy tale when she wished her husband had a sausage on his nose either. I mean stuff that would make Byron hurt so much that he'd have to think every day about how mean he is. If he just had a sausage growing off of his nose, people might laugh at him behind his back, but no one would have nerve enough to tease him to his face and call him weenie nose or something. He wouldn't know how it feels to always have someone jumping on you, how sad that can make you get. Sometimes I hated him that much and thought he was the meanest person in the world. After my arm quit hurting from his punch, I went back to the alley behind Mitchell's to take another look at the dead bird, but it was gone. Right in the spot where the bird had crashed, By had dug a little grave, and on top of the grave there were 2 popsicle sticks tied together in a cross. Leave it to Daddy Cool to kill a bird, then give it a funeral. Leave it to Daddy Cool to torture human kids at school all day long and never have his conscience bother him, but to feel sorry for a stupid little grayish-brown bird. I don't know. I really wish I was as smart as some people thought I was, 'cause some of the time it was real hard to understand what was going on with Byron.